All around us, there's this incredible silent superhighway system chugging away. It's an absolute masterpiece of engineering that lets plants basically laugh in the face of gravity. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it works. So think about this for a second. How in the world does a giant redwood, a tree that's like 300 feet tall, get a drink of water? I mean, how does it get water from its roots in the ground all the way up to its highest leaves with no pumps, no electricity, just nature?
And look, this isn't just some weird biology factoid. This is a massive physics problem. Plants are literally defying gravity every single second of their lives, and they figured out how to do it millions of years ago. So the real question is, how?
Well, the answer starts with this super specialized transport system inside the plant. You can think of it like the plumbing in a massive skyscraper, but honestly, it's way more sophisticated. It's this tiny, microscopic network of pipes running through the entire plant. Okay, so this plumbing system is actually split into two main pipes. First, you've got the xylem. That's the water main, pulling water and minerals straight up from the roots. Then there's the phloem, which is kind of like a two-way food delivery service, shuttling sugars from the leaves to wherever the plant needs energy. And as you can see, they are built completely differently to get their jobs done. What's so brilliant about the xylem is how it's built. It's actually made of dead cells that link up to form a totally hollow, unbroken tube from bottom to top. And the walls are reinforced with this super tough stuff called lignin, so they don't collapse under all that pressure. It's basically the perfect, hands-off pipeline that also doubles as a skeleton for the plant. The phloem, though, it's a completely different story. I mean, this thing is alive and kicking. It's a dynamic system with these special companion cells that burn energy to actively pump sugar into the pipeline. This isn't a passive tube. It's a controlled, active delivery service that can send food up or down wherever it's needed most. All right, so we've got the pipes, right? The xylem. But pipes don't just move water on their own, especially not hundreds of feet straight up. So what forces are actually powering this incredible journey against gravity? Okay, so it all starts at the very bottom with a little push. The roots are constantly pumping minerals inside, which makes them way saltier than the soil around them. And because of a neat process called osmosis, water just naturally flows in to even things out. This creates a tiny bit of upward pressure, but really, it's just a gentle nudge. No way is that getting water to the top of a tree. All right, next up, we get a little help from physics. See, water molecules are kind of clingy. They like to stick to each other. That's called cohesion. And they also like to stick to the sides of the xylem tubes. That's adhesion. Together, these two forces create what we call capillary action, and it helps the water creep up the tube a little. But again, this isn't the main event. But the real powerhouse, the actual engine driving this whole thing, is a massive pulling force. And amazingly, it's generated all the way at the top of the plant. It's called transpirational pull, and it all comes down to water evaporating from the leaves. Okay, let's just quickly recap. We've got a small push from the bottom, we have a little bit of help from physics inside the tubes, but one of these forces is doing pretty much all of the heavy lifting. So which one is it? What's the real engine here? And here it is. The key is the pull from the top. It's that simple. When one water molecule evaporates from a leaf, it yanks on the molecule right behind it, which yanks on the one behind that, and so on and so on. It creates this continuous chain of tension that pulls the whole column of water all the way up from the roots. The plant is basically one giant drinking straw. Okay, so the water's made it all the way up to the leaves, photosynthesis happens, and boom, the plant has its food, sugar. But now, how does it get that energy from the leaves down to its roots or over to a growing apple? And this is where things get really clever, because the plant uses both of its pipelines working together. First, sugar gets loaded into the phloem, making a really concentrated, sweet sap. Well, all that sugar concentration immediately pulls water in from the xylem right next door. This sudden rush of water creates a ton of pressure, and that pressure physically pushes the sugary sap along the phloem to wherever it's needed. It is an absolutely ingenious system. But this whole complicated system, it does more than just keep the plant alive. It actually gives plants this amazing superpower, one that's incredibly useful for us. Think about it. That same highway that pulls water and nutrients from the soil, well, it can be used to pull up other stuff too, including some really nasty things that we don't want in our environment. And this is where it gets really important for us. The process is called phytoremediation. Phyto comes from the Greek word for plant, and remedium is Latin for restore.
It's literally using plants to clean up our worst messes, sucking pollutants like heavy metals right out of the soil and water. And some plants are just superstars at this. They're like natural vacuum cleaners for very specific pollutants. You've got water hyacinths that can soak up lead, water spinach that can absorb mercury, and then you have the common sunflower, which is what's called a hyperaccumulator. It's a true champion, able to absorb all sorts of nasty stuff. And believe me, this is not just some theory from a textbook. This is real. After the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, scientists and engineers planted huge fields of sunflowers to literally pull radioactive particles out of the contaminated soil. That's nature's cleanup crew in action on a massive scale. So the next time you look at a tree or a flower, just remember the incredible engineering that's happening inside. They've solved these huge physics problems and have these hidden superpowers we're just now beginning to understand. It really makes you wonder, right? What other amazing secrets are hiding all around us in plain sight?